My hair is crazy right now. I have a shirt on, I promise. Hi and welcome to Lauren Loves Literature. My name is Lauren and I love literature. So I'm coming at you guys today with my March wrap up and my April TBR. Now this is not me trying to make an excuse or say that this is necessarily a bad thing, but I did read a lot less than normal in March. I had a depressive episode, I started a new job, and I just really either didn't have the time to read or didn't have the motivation to read. So I ended up reading 4 books in March. 3 of them are from a trilogy, and I'm just gonna go ahead and talk to you guys about what I read. So if you have followed me for a long time, you would know that I swore that I would never read a Leigh Bardugo book because I tried to read Six of Crows and did not like it a few years ago. So I just was like, you know what, I'm never gonna read a Leigh Bardugo book. So I ended up actually caving and buying the Shadow and Bone trilogy. Yes, I read the Shadow and Bone trilogy this month, and I had a wild time reading them. I thought they were so fun. I thought that they were predictable in a lot of ways. I will say that Ruin and Rising, the last book, probably has my favorite ending to any series ever. I think that it was just so beautifully done and wrapped up in such an amazing way. And I will say that there was a plot twist in Ruin and Rising that I was not expecting, so that was fun. I'm pretty sure I gave the first 2 books 3 stars and the last book 4 stars. Would I say that the last book is actually my favorite? Not necessarily. I would probably say Siege and Storm was my favorite. I have never read a book set at sea, and even though this book is not completely set at sea, a large part of it is. And I had so much fun with the kind of pirate theme. I thought it was so fun and just so exciting to read, and I had a really great time with these books. They have now made their way into my heart, and I can say that I am a fan. Alina is such an amazing main character. She never made me feel annoyed, which is really easy, and she just felt so real. You know, she was going through such hard things in these books and she was still emotional, and sometimes she shut down and was numb, and I just think it was so well done. I'm happy with how the series ended. I know I may not share the same opinions as a lot of people and a lot of my friends who have read these books, but yeah, one of those opinions being I don't really like the Darkling. I think he's hot, but I think he's terrible, and that's all I'm gonna say about the Darkling. But I loved these books. Like I said, 3 stars, 4 stars. And there's actually an interesting conversation about that on Twitter about how your favorite books cannot be 5 stars sometimes. And I would say that that is the case with these. These are definitely some of my favorite books, but they are not 5-star reads for me. And the next book I read was an ebook, and that is called Don't Call Me Crazy. This was an anthology put together, and it is basically, I believe, 33 voices or authors that have come together. There's actresses and authors and public figures in this book, all talking about their experience with mental health. And this book definitely has a lot of triggers in it. Some talk about sexual assault, some talk about really bad depression, some talk about PTSD. So definitely look into that if you were interested in this book. Look into the triggers. But I would definitely this book just made me feel so seen, which I feel like is so important when we're talking about mental health, is to be inclusive and to hear from different people's perspectives, because in media today we normally see one narrative of mental health, and that is depression and anxiety, and not even great representation in that. But this really covered a lot, and I really enjoyed my time reading it. I don't rate my nonfiction, but I still had a really great time reading this book, and if I did rate it, I would definitely give it 5 stars, which I know that kind of goes against the whole point of like not rating it, but like, it's my channel, I can do what I want. Okay, so my TBR is very tentative. It's very like, I'll get to it if I can. Like I said, I started a new job. I work every day this next week, and I'm so tired when I get home. I have a very physical job, and so we're just gonna hope that I can get into some reading this month and make some self-care time and really have that set in stone that I will take care of myself, which reading is a big form of self-care for me. So these books are not something that I feel like I have to read or else like things are going to be bad or whatever, but they are books that I would really like to get to. So the first book I'm going to be showing you guys is a book that I've already started. I'm on page 14, and that is An Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir. This is a signed Barnes and Noble exclusive edition. So it's got this cover and it's got some maps in it. It is a beautiful book. The cover is stunning as well on the dust jacket that I took off. But yes, I have started reading this. From what I can tell, follows a few characters, one of them being Leia, and her brother is working against the Empire, and the Empire has taken over this land of people called the Scholars and has enslaved them, and Leia is part of the Scholars, and I guess there's some sort of revolution going on. So that is all I know so far. Like I said, I'm 14 pages in, and this is a series, so I definitely have a lot to learn, but I'm really enjoying my time with it so far. I'm only 14 pages in and I'm really enjoying myself, so I'm very excited to see where this book goes. Next, we have one of my most anticipated books ever that I've ever wanted to read, and that is The Poppy War by Rf Quang. This book is it was really hyped up last year and I never got around to it. I really wish I had the hardcover, but my bookstore did not carry it. So I got this cute paperback. So if I really love it, maybe I'll get the hardcover. But this follows Rin, who aced the Empire-wide test to find the most talented youth to learn the academic. And she's dark-skinned, she's a peasant, so people don't like her being in this elite school for warriors, and she basically has to, I guess, prove herself to her country and become an amazing warrior. And I've just heard this book is phenomenal. I'm so freaking excited to get to it, so this is very high on my priority list. Next, we have a reread, and that is Awakens by Elise Kova. This follows our main character Vala as she discovers that she has powers, and she is invited to go with the sorcerer of the land and train and, you know, harness her powers and leave her old life behind. And she gets wrapped up with this dreamy, broody prince named Prince Aldrich, and one of my favorite characters of all time. And she has powers, and I don't remember a lot about this book, but I remember I gave it 4 or 5 stars and I absolutely loved it, and I would love to carry on with the series. So I want to reread this first before I go in, because that would be very confusing to me, because like I just said, I don't remember much. I remember some standout scenes, but the overall plot and what it's about, I don't really remember. I just know that she has discovered she has powers and has to decide if she wants to choose that path in her life. This next one is a little ambitious, and that is King's Bane by Claire Legrand. This is the second book in the Imperium trilogy. The first book is Furyborn. I loved Furyborn, freaking loved it, and I've heard this is the best in the series, so I'm very excited about that. It is a kind of big boy. Series is a dual timeline series where our first timeline follows Riel, and our second timeline follows Eliana. There's a prophecy set over these girls that says one will be the Blood Queen and one will be the Sun Queen. Blood Queen brings terrible death things. Sun Queen brings restoration and love and light. And so these girls are figuring out how do they fit into this prophecy. I thought I was just normal. So it is a very exciting, thrilling book series. Like I said, I loved the first one. I'm in love with Riel, my book girlfriend, but this series is something that I'm very excited about, and like I said, it's kind of big, especially for not having a lot of time to read, so it's kind of lower on my priority list, but it's something I'm very excited about. Finally, I have Raybear by Jordan Ifueko. This follows our main character Teresai as she is fighting to be chosen to be one of the select few that gets to go train in the castle, I believe. I could be all wrong with this, but this is kind of what I've gathered. And the person who has been training her her whole life to become this, basically has assigned her to get close to the crown prince and kill him. And I guess that's where our story starts, is this kind of moral battle of good and evil and politics and things like that. I believe there's magic in this book as well, just from the title. But yes, I'm very excited to read this book. It is not that long either, and the rest of the covers of the series are absolutely stunning as well. Like, this is probably one of my most beautiful books that I own. It is just absolutely stunning, so I'm very excited to pick this up. All of the books that I have just showed you guys are like fighting to be my next read after An Ember in the Ashes, so we shall see who wins. So, oh my gosh, looks like I have no shirt on. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you guys so much for being so kind and sticking with me through this kind of mental health break that I had to take. And I'm going to be trying to kind of pre-film videos so I can keep consistently uploading. All my social medias are going to be in the links down in the description below, so if you would like to contact me, I love Twitter the most, so definitely check me out there. I would love to chat with you and become friends. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click subscribe if you haven't, and the thumbs up button. That really helps me and makes me very happy, and I will see you next time.